guys, welcome to another Curly Locks UK vlog. This time I am taking you along on my trip to TwitchCon Paris. It's my first ever TwitchCon experience and I am so excited to take you with me. You may even spot some familiar faces along the way, so let's go. I had an earlier start to the day. I made my way over to Manchester Airport where I was catching a 2 PM flight to Paris Orly Airport. Quick shout out to EasyJet for making it so simple to book a last minute flight. I had some issues with the flight that I originally booked with another airline and yeah, they just made it super easy for me to get there, so thank you very much EasyJet. After I'd picked up some brunch, I headed over to the waiting area. I had a look around some of the shops and then watched some of the flights take off and some of the planes getting ready to take off as well. And then it wasn't really long before the gate opened for my flight and we began boarding. This flight actually had so many people heading to TwitchCon on it, so if you recognise anybody here, please do let me know in the comments. So, once the plane was fully boarded, we were ready to go. I actually managed to bag myself a window seat, so I got the perfect view. I absolutely love sitting at the window seat on a plane still. I don't know if anyone else gets that excited. But yeah, I got the perfect view and I will see you guys in Paris. Here we go. It took just under 2 hours to get to Paris. The weather was amazing when I arrived. I picked up my bags and I went straight to meet my driver who took me to the hotel. It was about a half-hour drive and the driver was super helpful. He helped me with my bags and he gave me lots of tips for going around Paris as well. I was staying at this super cute small boutique hotel which wasn't far away from the convention centre. I'll leave a link to it in the description below because it was super cute and the staff were really helpful. My room was perfect, it was clean, it was just everything I needed for the weekend and yeah, I was really happy with it. After I had unpacked and freshened up, I made my way over to the convention centre, which was actually only about a 25-minute walk away, and this is where TwitchCon was going to be for the next few days. I picked up my badge ready for the next day and then it was time for me to head into the city where I was going to make my way up to the top of the Eiffel Tower. If you do want to get around Paris and you don't want to walk, you can catch an Uber pretty much anywhere. that's really handy. You can also use the metro links or even hire an e-scooter. It's really easy to get around Paris. So if you are looking at that, don't worry, you can get an Uber, you can use the app. It's perfect. So before I headed over to Paris, I actually pre-booked my tickets to go right to the summit of the Eiffel Tower. I booked these for around 10:30 p.m. and made sure to book the elevator route. I even arrived a little earlier than expected, and I made it to the top before the sun started to set. The queue for the elevator wasn't so bad, but if you are planning to go to the Eiffel Tower, be prepared to queue for the majority of your visit. It was a bit of a squeeze in the elevator as well, but it's definitely worth it for that view from the top. Thank you. If you are a little nervous of heights, I recommend standing away from the windows or the doors in the elevator like I did. So you do have to queue to get into another elevator if you are heading to the summit of the tower, and sometimes due to bad weather this can be closed. Thankfully for me, it was a beautiful day in Paris and I got to see the sun setting over Paris right from the top of the Eiffel Tower. And now we've made it right to the top of the tower and the views are incredible. See if you can spot some of the other famous landmarks in these clips. It was starting to get late, so I decided to make my way back down the tower. The sun had set and tomorrow is a pretty big day. Quick shout out to the family that I met at the Eiffel Tower and thank you for taking some photos of me there. I hope you had an amazing trip and it was so great to meet you there. Now it was time to head back to the hotel to get a good night's sleep before day one of TwitchCon. It's now the next day, and I was up at 7:30 to head straight to the convention centre ready for my first full day at TwitchCon. First things first though, it's important to start the day off properly, and that had to be done with McDonald's breakfast, of course. And next on the busy schedule was to head straight to the opening ceremony. The vibes here were unbeatable, and there were lots of exciting announcements of things coming up on Twitch very soon. So remember, if you recognise anybody, let me know in the comments. I really want to know if you have spotted anyone that you know or that you follow. Give them a shout out in the comments below.
If you're here and you're trying to attend TwitchCon Paris, great job, you're in the right room. If that's not what you came here for, this is going to be a really weird weekend for you. Dan Clancy!
Thanks, Mary, and thank you all for being here today. It's great streaming.
Now you guys should definitely recognise my next friend. I finally got to meet my longtime streamer friend, Mr. Ginjana. Go and give him a follow over on Twitch if you aren't already. You will see more of him later on in this vlog. After the opening ceremony, I made my way onto the expo floor for the first time. It was full of awesome booths, games available to play, giveaways to enter. The artist alley was there. It was endless and it was so much fun. As you can see, I was totally overwhelmed by the noise and the atmosphere, but I was so happy to just finally be here. It was one of my only goals for this year to get to TwitchCon, and thanks to you guys, I got to do it, and I had so much fun. So thank you guys for your endless support. It is because of you guys that I am here, and I'm having the best time ever. Now, I couldn't come to TwitchCon without having a quick look around what was on sale at the Loot Cave. There was so much choice, but I decided I was going to opt for a little TwitchCon badge, and I wore this on my lanyard for the rest of the weekend. lots of really eye-opening panels being held at the con as well. So at the end of the day, I headed to this amazing one, which I want to give a quick shout out to Warwick and Rach, who did really well on the panel. Well done, guys. Day one went so fast and it was so jam-packed that I just went straight to bed after grabbing some food, and then it was already day two. So I used the TwitchCon app to help schedule the day, and I got to listen to so many more amazing panels, explore a lot more of the expo floor, and I got to meet some amazing streamers at the community meetups too. There was so much going on at TwitchCon that it is literally impossible to do everything, but boy did I try. One of my favourite parts of TwitchCon was going to this chocolate tasting workshop on the last day, and I was joined again by Jin Jana for this one, so big shout out to Jin. It was in French, however we had a translator on the headset telling us everything that the guy was saying in English, and that was just like a fantastic detail. It meant that all of us could experience the same thing and enjoy it. Jin and I just could not wait to try this chocolate. We were waiting for the guy to finish talking for us to actually try it, but we were so glad that we waited because he explained how to eat the chocolate. So we had 3 pieces of chocolate to try and they were all amazing. My favourite one was the purple one, which you'll see in a minute. But basically what happened was you were asked to half the chocolate, so you had 2 pieces, and you were to try the first piece, and that kind of like cleansed your palate. It was better than drinking water, because water sometimes like dampens the taste buds and things like that. And this is basically what he was explaining to us as we were trying the chocolate. And then when you take your second piece of chocolate, you actually like taste a lot more of the actual flavors of it. So this one was the 64%, I believe. I think that was right. And it was really nice. It was honestly really tasty. It was a great start. As you can see, me and Jin really love chocolate, and we totally weren't pretending to know exactly what he was on about this whole time. You can see when the flavors hit, because mine and Jin's face completely changed. Like, we're so shocked by the amount of flavors you taste the second time round. It was a pretty insane experience, but it was so good. So we're actually onto my favorite chocolate now. This one was my favorite out of all 3. it's the most cocoa in there, and I am a sucker for dark chocolate. I absolutely love it. I actually eat a lot more dark chocolate than I do normal chocolate, and yeah, this one was a winner for me for sure, as you can see by my face. But no, it was definitely the best one. So after stuffing our faces with chocolate, Jin and I headed downstairs to the expo floor once again, but this time it was to actually do some gaming, and it was great. I actually had a go at playing some Fortnite on the PC at the Samsung booth, but because I'm a console gamer, I absolutely sucked. So much so, this prankster streamer decided to take matters into their own hands. Keep watching to see what they do after I ignore their help. As you can see, I was not impressed. Keep an eye on the background, watch what he does. Even though they were totally not cool and they turned the PC off. You guys know I'm always as kind as possible, and I will always try to be the better, more positive person in a situation like this. So they got a hug and we laughed it off. Even though I can't lie, I was pretty annoyed. How would you guys have reacted in that situation? Anyway, after the whole ordeal, I decided to play some Fortnite on the consoles at the same booth, where I felt much more comfortable, and I even managed to get some limbs. Just listen to the atmosphere on the expo floor. It was so noisy, but it was amazing to be there.
No! Yeah!
But the day was nearly over and TwitchCon Paris was nearly complete. I had a quick trip to the rooftop to check out the food and the music where everyone was partying away. And then that was it for TwitchCon. I had an amazing time, and I will definitely be heading back to next year's TwitchCon, wherever that may be. And TwitchCon may be over, but I still had a few hours left in Paris before flying home, so I grabbed myself a crepe and then headed back into the city to explore. I visited Paris a few times in the past, but never truly got to explore for myself and see some of the amazing places here, so it was really nice to have a few hours just to walk around and really appreciate how beautiful Paris actually is. And that was it for my trip to Paris. It had come to an end and it was time to head back to Orly Airport and catch my flight to Manchester. I picked up some delicious macarons from L'Hôtel and then I hopped on my plane back home, where where I would have a much needed rest after a chaotic but amazing weekend in Paris. TwitchCon Paris, you were amazing. I have met so many amazing people who I now get to call my friends. I've eaten such tasty food, I've explored new places, and I've made some of the best memories ever. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this trip, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Please don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you love this video, and make sure you like and comment as well. I really want to know what you guys thought of this trip, and I'll see you very soon.